In the world of consumer products, most things just exist. They get made, they get sold, they get forgotten. But every now and then, something unexpected happens. A product breaks free from the store shelf, slips into the culture, and becomes something bigger. This is the story of a cup. Not just any cup. A 40-ounce insulated tumbler from a 111-year-old brand, best known for camping gear, Stanley. You know the brand your grandpa trusted to keep his coffee hot during fishing trips? Yeah, that's Stanley. Except in 2024, something weird happened. Stanley didn't just stay in the woods. It exploded on TikTok. Suddenly, it wasn't just outdoorsy guys buying Stanleys. It was suburban moms, college students, wellness influencers, people who sipped oat milk lattes from sleek European water bottles were now gripping chunky neon-colored Quenchers. And the thing is, it wasn't even supposed to happen. The Quencher wasn't a big product launch. It wasn't backed by a massive campaign or a Super Bowl commercial. For years, it quietly underperformed. But then, TikTok moms discovered it. Specifically, a group called The Buy Guide started sharing their love for this big, funny-looking tumbler. The Quencher didn't just hold water. It held an entire vibe. It was sturdy, it fit in a car cup holder, it came in these endless limited edition colors. And most importantly, it made drinking water feel good. People posted their morning routines, their car rides, their Target runs, always with the Quencher in frame. Before long, it wasn't just a tumbler. It was a personality trait. Stanley saw what was happening, and instead of fighting it or ignoring it, they leaned in. They created drops, exclusive collabs, TikTok first launches. They hired someone whose literal job title is VP of Product Acceleration. Sales went from $73 million to over $750 million in just 4 years. That's 10x growth in 4 years.
This is beautiful.
Oh my god, she's a beauty.
At first glance, it looks silly. A cup? Viral? But under the hood, this is about something deeper. Attention is fragmented. Loyalty is fleeting. Every brand is screaming for relevance. But Stanley cracked something. They made a century-old brand feel alive. They adapted their entire supply chain to be faster, their product cycles to be shorter, their marketing to be more human. And it worked. Not because they had the most advanced product, but because they understood the assignment, make people feel something. Stanley became more than a cup. It became a status symbol, a meme, a collector's item. And somewhere out there, in a world full of forgotten brands and products nobody remembers, there's a warehouse worker watching their favorite cup go viral, wondering if their product could be next. Because if Stanley can do it, maybe anyone can. Maybe you can. Or maybe it's just a cup. This is The Art of Commerce. Let's get into it.
The Art of Commerce is a podcast featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. Hosted by Anish, a data-obsessed creative director, and Jinx, a growth-obsessed CMO. Listen on for actionable insights for the modern marketer.
This is an amazing story, and one near and dear to my heart. I actually got a chance to speak or hear Terrence, who was the VP of marketing at the time. Now he's running Hey Dude, which is a Crocs brand, the shoe. Which is
this guy is so well connected.
Yeah. I gotta just gush over him for a second because unbelievable mind, unbelievable marketer, and just I got a chance to hear him speak. Like I said, an unbelievably humble guy. Honestly, like we asked him how he's so successful, and he said luck. I mean, I don't think that's true. I think that's a little of I don't want to say false humility, but it's definitely humility. But two things really come out to me. One, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, so sorry, Terrence, if I didn't get this completely right, but he made a comment that he was trying to get Stanley from being hot, male, and green. Because that was like, historically, that was the brand, right?
Yeah.
Hot drink, male consumer, and the green color was very indicative of Stanley. And he was trying to make it cold, female, and colorful, right? And
opposite end of the spectrum.
And like he said that, and anyone can say that, right? But the fact that he permeated that through the organization, like remember we talked about in other earlier episodes around Sling and getting our best customer and changing the mindset from a pure volume acquisition play to a quality play, right? Like he had to do that for the whole company, for the board, for the CEO, and the consumer, because he wanted to get into this new market. And the last thing you want to do is alienate your existing customer. And he was able to do that. And so I just was like floored by that vision, quite frankly, and that the conciseness. You know, he didn't need, when he explained this to us, he didn't need a deck. He didn't need a manifesto. 3 words: cold, female, colorful. Wow. Unbelievable. So that was really cool. And then the other thing he said, you alluded to it because it was these bloggers in Utah, the Buy Guide is the best example of it. But he did more than that because he listened. Like he listened to his customers. And more importantly, he listened to his employees, because he didn't find the Buy Guide because he was just Googling Utah bloggers. He heard it from one of his employees. He was talking to people as he was starting. And one person said to him, you know, there's these guys, these gals in Utah, and they've got a blog and they're really pushing our product. And he heard it, and like a light bulb went off. And like how many leaders you've worked for, whatever, would hear that and say, okay, great. I've got to now do my spreadsheet. I've got to do, and they don't take action on it. He actually listened, actually took action on it. And then he actually empowered these guys because they actually became a sales channel for him.
Right.
If you ever get a chance to hear him speak, he will, I don't want to steal his thunder. He will talk about how they became a sales channel. And the fact of the listening, the conciseness and clarity of message, like unbelievably inspiring for me.
You said this in a previous episode, Jinx. Like, as a CMO, you can't sit in your ivory tower. You have to lean in and listen to your employees. And this is a classic example of CAG just playing out well.
No, exactly right. I'm glad you listened to my what I'm saying. So it's good.
You guys check out the previous episodes. You got some amazing insights.
But it's 100% right. You cannot sit in the ivory tower. Like we forget sometimes when we're sitting in our offices and sitting in our seats, you know, no matter the level, like we're marketers, because what is the marketer? We're in touch with the customer. We're in touch with the culture. We're in touch with the product and how they're using it. And sometimes we forget about that, right? And by the way, it's easy to forget about. You got to worry about your cost per acquisition. You got to worry about your conversion rate. You got to worry about, you know, am I spending right? You got to worry about the CFO, the CEO. You got to worry, blah, 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 blah. Don't offend anybody, blah, 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 all the things. And they're all valid. But at the end of the day, if you strip all that stuff down, why are we here? Because we're in touch with the customer, and we want to be in touch with the customer, right? We've talked about it before. Again, we're going to keep citing old stuff because it's good. The way I started in marketing and the way many of us do is customer need, business value, technology enablement. Too often, forget about the customer need. We forget about the customer. And so this was a great reminder when I heard Terrence speak of, oh my gosh, customers, we say it in that order for a reason. Customers paramount. And this was just as a great example of that.
We've heard the word customer obsession being thrown around so often. This is a living example of how someone truly embodied it, ran with it, and saw an iconic success. One thing that stood out to me about the Stanley story is they wanted the customers to feel something about drinking water. Now, drinking water is so basic, for the lack of a different word. It's so basic. It's a human need. But you suddenly crafted a cultural icon around it and gave these people an identity, a chance to express themselves in the form of a tumbler. And that is so cool.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable, that perspective. And then the partnerships that has driven off of, like the brand partnerships he's able to, and Stanley's able to cultivate, country music stars, you know, NASCAR, whatever. They were able to then now take this platform and truly leverage it, which is like the goal of what we all want to do, right? And quite frankly, what was fascinating to me to hear Terrence talk about this was he actually used those partnerships as a way to help his marketing costs. Because at the end of the day, those partnerships, they were paying these guys off cost of goods sold. So he could actually push that sponsorship to cost of goods sold rather than to advertising top line budget.
So it's almost like an affiliate program.
It's
of
almost
sorts?
like an affiliate program. I mean, when he said that to me, it blew my mind.
Wow.
I felt silly. I asked the question, like, how do you justify this to the CFO? He's like, I don't have to.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, man, God, this guy's playing chess.
It's like hiring an incredibly like celebrity led sales force.
Exactly. And look, we don't all have that. I mean, I've run brands. We don't all have the luxury to do that. But man, if you find that, it just blew my mind when he said that. So that's we no matter what level, you always have to learn and be inspired. And I'm certainly inspired by that.
Jinx, this Stanley story is proof that your product category doesn't matter. Hydration isn't sexy, but identity is. The lesson here is people don't buy products. They buy participation or a feeling like they're a part of a tribe or a look. I've been reading This is Strategy by Seth Godin. He says that outside of food, water, shelter, the basics, there's three things that all people want. Okay? The first is status. You want to feel like you hold a certain status in the society that you're in. Second is you want affiliation. Are you associated with all the right things that give you status? And the third is freedom from fear. You want security. And I think Stanley has nailed something way deeper from an affiliation and status perspective. When they affiliated themselves with those celebrities, when you suddenly see a TikTok mom who's on the opposite end of a spectrum than your grandfather who would use a Stanley Cup for camping. That's how you do it. You lean into something that's really fundamental to what a human needs. And, you call it customer obsession. I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, and we should call this the GOAT episode now that you're bringing up Seth Godin. Man, jeez. We got Terrence, we got Seth. But I mean, to use the parlance of our times, it's vibes, man. Like it's vibes. It's vibes, man. Like that's the essence of it, right? Like great art, great creative, great marketing. It's undescribable because it hits something in your core that you don't understand. Honestly, like to play out the not so great side, like there were riots and targets for these things, man. Like for a cup, and it was the vibe that was created, was the feeling, and we often, it's hard plateau to hit. So like again, you have to be diligent, you have to be concise on your message, you have to listen to your customer, you have to be lucky, to Terrence's point.
Yeah. Tool, timing, taste.
Hey man, tools, timing, exactly. Taste. And the taste part though, again, back to the human element, you can't recreate that with AI.
That's true.
And the good point which is made about this is they didn't really have permission to do this. Like if you think about it, Yeti should have crushed them. Yeti should have done this.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, I can call it out, other people can't, but I will. Like, and I love Yeti. I got, props to Yeti. Props to Yeti. If you want to send us any gear, no, I'm just kidding. But they had every right to do this. They had the permission to. They had the cultural permission. They were there. They didn't, and it's no fault of theirs. Right? It's, like I said, it's hard. But it's not a fault of theirs. It's how advanced that thinking was.
It's the thought. Right. It's having a clarity. What are the three things that this marketing head was going for? Cool.
Female? Colorful.
That clarity of thought is so powerful. Yeah. Hey, Jinx, I have another perspective for you. Legacy brands are usually seen as unsexy or uncool. Like, they're just fuddy-duddy. Right? But legacy brands also have some unfair advantages because of their structure. I'm talking about supply chain, distribution, and trust. You've got the foundation to make something really successful. You just need that clarity of thought that we were just talking about.
That's right. And I mean, honestly, and I could just gush about Terrence all the whole time.
I've got two words for you.
Oh, what?
Cultural agility.
Bingo. I was going to say something a little different, but bingo. And I love that because the way I think about it, though, is when you're dealing with a Goliath situation and you're David, the best strategy to have is what's been termed the judo strategy. If you're not familiar, in the form of judo martial art, and now all the judo guys are gonna now text me this is wrong, but this is by the way what I believe, and I'm a negative belt, so whatever. But the way I understand it is, judo, you actually take the force of the aggressor and use it against them, right? And when you're the David and there's a Goliath, you have to use these forces, these macro forces against you. You grab a really good one with the supply chain. So let's dig on that. When you listen to Terrence talk about Stanley, and he will say, hopefully, if you're lucky enough, that there was scarcity, and they used it to their advantage. Why was there scarcity? Because they were getting these things made out of the country. Stanley started peaking in the middle of the pandemic when supply chains were off the rails, if you guys recall. I mean, and so rather than be like, oh no, we can't get enough Stanleys to Walmart, which is what most of us would think, they said, awesome, we can't get enough Stanleys to Walmart, which means we can't get enough Stanleys to our customers, which means there's a cachet, there's a status, there's a cultural element now that's not everyone can have this. And they leaned into it. I mean, unbelievable, right? It's just, most of it, I'll put myself in this camp. Just like I would be freaking out, we can't get, we can't get enough supply. How are we going to meet the demand? But if you flip it, we don't have enough supply. We can't meet that demand.
Guys, so well to your judo example.
Yeah.
You turn crisis into opportunity.
Yeah.
You take the scarcity and actually turn it into a status symbol. Oh,
it's unbelievable. So yeah, so there's so many lessons from this one. I love it.
So Jinx, what would you steal from Stanley? All these incredible stories that we just heard about, they create a cultural momentum. What would you steal from Stanley?
No, and we talked about it. And again, I think the worst, I'm sorry, maybe not the worst, but I'll be hyperbolic maybe, as I usually am. The worst lesson is we're going to make all of our widgets colorful and for female and for, that's not the lesson to me, right? The lesson though is the clarity and conciseness of Terrence's message. We're going from this to this. It's 3 words. The organization, whether they believe it or buy into it or not, they can rally around it, right? He said it probably 8 billion times. So the consistency of that clarity of that concise message, unbelievable. So that's one. 2, listen to your customers. Listen to your employees. The listening tour isn't a tour to tell them about you. It is to listen when you start that job. And he said it when he started that job. He did the listening tour. He listened, man, and damn, you can learn something from that. And then the third is this idea of the judo strategy. To me, it's again, Yeti was the Goliath, right? They had every right to do this. They had every right to be cool, female, colorful. Every right. They didn't. Why? Because Stanley embraced what they were. They embraced their David, and they used the force and the weight of the Goliath against them. They weren't as nimble. They weren't able to listen to the customer and pivot. They didn't have the scarcity potentially that they had. They leaned into it. So those 3 things, that's the takeaway for everybody.
Great call outs. There's also an element of audience being greater than your category. Right? It's drinking cups. It's a product as old as time, as boring as ever. But if you make your audiences feel something, you are sitting on a massive opportunity to create culture.
You are, and I'll give you an anecdote. Just from my personal experience, we were at CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, in 24 in January in Vegas. And so every vendor has meetings set up. Just to give you, every vendor has meeting setups. They're always giving out swag and all kinds of stuff. Who was giving out Stanley Cups?
Who?
TikTok.
Whoa!
And I kid you not, the people were clamoring for them. Like they were like, how do I get a meeting with TikTok to get the Stanley Cup? So it's just hilarious how, that your point, the audience is bigger than the actual item. Like that's what it was, man. Like you got CMOs like, now I got to meet with TikTok. And so kudos on you, TikTok. Great
Great
idea.
work by TikTok, yeah.
And I will say my wife still has it and is using it.
Like, Jinx, closing thoughts. What do you think about the statement? Passive products are going to die. You may be legacy, you may be a big legacy brand, but as long as you continue to be a passive product, death is imminent.
Yeah, I mean, I think I put it a little differently. I just say passive products are commodities.
Oh, well said.
You know, like,
so
I
good.
don't think they're going to die, right? I don't think necessarily, right? Like, you're going to still get milk. Do you know what brand of milk you're getting? Maybe not, right? That being said, like, look at Oatly, oat milk, right? Like, they are making a statement, right? They're not being a passive brand. You are going there. I'm not buying generic oat milk. I'm buying Oatly, right? Like, so these ideas about making yourself not a commodity is what I think we need to think about, right? Because if you're a commodity, then it's, we saw it's like it's down to price. Who's the lowest price? Okay. Is that milk cheaper than that? Great. I'm done. But if you're not, then it doesn't matter how much you're paying for a pink water cup. You want that water cup. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you need to take the meeting with TikTok to get that water cup at CES, right? And these are well-paid marketers that are clamoring for a cup. But that's the thing. And to me, the way you get out of being a commodity, just to hit it home, is conciseness, clarity of your strategy and how you communicate that to your organization. That's internal. External, how you then listen to your customer, right? Understand what they want and what they're doing. Because we create products and we don't know what they're doing. Like, I'll give you a great example. We're at Sling, right? We're a TV service. We heard in a podcast that actually these reality influencers love Sling because we actually aired the episodes on East Coast time, even on the West Coast.
Ooh.
So they were able to watch it 3 hours earlier. And we were like, oh my God. So we actually started to incorporate that in our messaging. We reached out to those influencers to see how they could promote it. But again, if you don't listen, like people are using your product in ways you didn't even think about. If you're not listening, you can't capitalize on it, right? So that's 2. And then 3 is, you've got a great internal message. You're listening to the customer. You're still the David, man. Use the judo strategy. Use the force of the market against itself. Don't swim upstream. Swim with the stream, but use it for your benefit.
Oh, just good bangers, back to back bangers. I wish I could get a hoodie with everything you just said. Like, hey, passive products are a commodity. I'm gonna wear the heck out of that. Use the forces of the
It'll
market.
be on the Art of Commerce merch.
Jinx, what a great way to close us out. Thank you for some amazing insights. If you liked what Jinx just dropped and the story of Stanley and you want to learn more about such cool things, tune into the Art of Commerce. Rate the episode on Spotify. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel you're listening to the song.
Like us, subscribe, and then when we get the merch, buy it.
Yes. Passive products are a commodity. Good. Well said. Well said.
This is The Art of Commerce, featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. If you found value in today's episode, follow the show, leave a review, and stay tuned for more insights for the minds reshaping modern marketing.